The first thing the Zyrith ambassador said when he entered the United Earth Council chamber was that humanity should feel honored. "We have assessed your civilization," Ambassador Kale said, his four eyes scanning the room with the casual disinterest of someone inspecting livestock. "You are primitive, fragile, short-lived. Your weapons are toys. Your ships are slow. Your biology is embarrassingly vulnerable." He paused for effect. "And yet, the Zyrith Dominion is offering you a place. Not as equals, of course, but as servants. Useful ones." He smiled with a mouth full of too many teeth. "You should be grateful." The room was silent. Earth's lead negotiator, Director Amara Osei, sat at the head of the table. 63 years old, silver-haired. She had spent 40 years in conflict resolution, wars, famines, collapsed governments, corporate atrocities. She had sat across from some of the worst humanity had ever produced. She looked at the ambassador the way a grandmother looks at a child throwing a tantrum in a grocery store. Tired, unsurprised, completely unbothered. "Thank you for your assessment," she said. "We'll need 24 hours to discuss your offer internally." Kale blinked all four eyes. "You are not immediately accepting?" "No. Do you understand what we are offering?" "Servitude," Amara said. "Yes. We understood the first time." Kale leaned forward. "Do you understand what happens to civilizations that refuse?" Amara looked at him for a long moment. Then she opened the folder in front of her, clicked her pen, and said, "We'll have our answer for you tomorrow morning. 8 o'clock. My assistant will show you to your quarters." She went back to her notes. Kale had conquered 49 civilizations. He had never once been dismissed like an inconvenient appointment. He left the chamber with his dignity barely intact and the unsettling feeling that he had somehow already lost something, though he could not say what. What happened in the next 24 hours was not a debate. It was not a panic. It was not an emergency session. It was not tearful speeches about humanity's survival or desperate plans for evacuation. It was a series of very quiet meetings between very calm people who had clearly been thinking about this moment for a long time. General Torres of Earth Defense Command laid out 3 options in 11 minutes. He spoke the way surgeons speak before an operation. Focused, precise, no unnecessary words. Option 1. Accept the offer. Become servants of the Zyrith Dominion. Survive as a species, but surrender autonomy permanently. Option 2. Refuse and evacuate. Scatter humanity across deep space colonies already prepared for this exact scenario. Let Earth burn if necessary. Preserve the species. Option 3. Refuse and engage. He paused on option 3 for exactly 2 seconds longer than the others. Director Osei looked around the table. "How long have we been preparing for option 3? 87 years, General Torres said. The room was quiet for a moment. "Show me," she said. What the Zyrith did not know, what no alien civilization had ever bothered to find out, because humanity had always seemed so small and so busy fighting each other, was that humans had a particular relationship with existential threats. They had been living with them since before they had language. Ice ages, famines, plagues that killed half a continent, asteroids, supervolcanoes, their own weapons, their own greed, their own mistakes. For 200,000 years, something had been trying to end humanity, and humanity had responded the same way every single time. They got to work. They did not wait for threats to arrive. They prepared for them decades in advance. They built redundancies into redundancies. They hid things. They planned for scenarios so dark that most species would not have been able to conceive of them without losing the will to exist. 87 years ago, when the first alien signal had been detected and decoded, Earth's governments had done something quietly and without public announcement. They had started building, not ships for exploration, not stations for research, infrastructure for war, buried under the ocean floors, hidden in the cores of uninhabited moons, disguised as weather satellites and mining operations and deep space observatories. A fleet that existed on no public record, staffed by people who had signed agreements so classified that the agreements themselves were classified. When Ambassador Kale had walked into that council chamber and seen a room full of soft, short-lived, biologically fragile humans. He had seen exactly what humanity wanted him to see. He had not seen what was underneath. No, Kale stared at her. You are refusing. Yes. You understand that our fleet will. Already know, Amara said. She slid a folder across the table. This is our counteroffer. Kale opened it. It contained a single page. On that page was a star map. 46 systems were marked in red. What is this? He said. Those are the locations of your Dominion's fuel refinement stations, Amara said. All 46 of them, including the 3 you built last year that your own high command doesn't officially know about yet. She paused. We've known about those for 8 months. Kale's 4 eyes went very still. Also in that folder, Amara continued, you'll find the access codes for your fleet's navigation systems. All of them. We've had those for about 6 weeks. We haven't used them because we were hoping this conversation would go differently. She folded her hands on the table. It didn't. The silence in the room was the kind that has weight to it. You're bluffing, Kale said. His voice had changed. Something had gone out of it. Amara looked at him with those calm, tired eyes. Your flagship is called the Eternal Supremacy. Its chief engineer is named Vorith. He has a daughter. She is 7 years old, and she likes to draw pictures of ships. We have 17 of her drawings. Vorith sent them to a friend on the 4th moon of Zyrith Prime using a personal communications channel your intelligence service doesn't monitor. She tilted her head. We monitor it. Kale stood up very slowly. We are not asking you to leave, Amara said. We are telling you. And we are telling you with the same patience we have used for everything else that has ever tried to end us. She opened her folder again. You have until tomorrow morning. 8 o'clock. We will not remind you again. She went back to her notes. Kale left Earth that afternoon. He did not file a report when he returned to Zyrith space. He requested an immediate private audience with the High Chancellor and spoke for 3 hours. When he emerged, he looked 20 years older. The High Chancellor canceled the invasion order that same day. No public announcement. No explanation given to the fleet commanders who had already positioned themselves at the edge of human space. Just a quiet order. Stand down. Come home. Remove Sol from all target lists. Permanently. When junior commanders asked why, their superiors told them simply that new intelligence had changed the strategic calculation. None of them were told the full truth. The full truth was that Kale had sat across from a 63-year-old human woman with a folder and a pen, and had understood, somewhere in the deepest part of his survival instinct, that humanity had not been sitting on that small blue planet waiting to be discovered. They had been waiting, just not for the same thing he thought. They had been waiting for someone to make them use what they had built. And they were, if anything, mildly disappointed that it had not come to that. The Galactic Council added a new entry to the Registry of Known Civilizations that year. Classification: Apex Tier 1. Notes: do not approach without invitation. Do not misinterpret stillness as weakness. Do not confuse patience with ignorance. At the bottom of the entry, someone had added a single line in small text. It had no official author. No one claimed to have written it, but it stayed in the registry for 10,000 years without anyone removing it. They have been ready since before we knew they existed. They're still ready. They will always be ready. Leave them alone.